forgotten that in the great galaxy, humans were seen as small and weak. They had no powerful fleets, no famous warriors, and no great empires. Most alien races believed humans would disappear one day, and no one would care. Long ago, when humans first reached the stars, they were full of hope, but hope did not protect them from war. A massive cosmic disaster destroyed Earth's colonies one by one. Human ships burned in space, and their cities turned to dust. The Galactic Council watched everything happen. They had the power to help, but they chose not to. To them, humans were not important enough to save, resources were limited, and humans were considered a bad investment. As humanity stood on the edge of extinction, one small alien race acted differently. They were known as the Illyrin, an old and peaceful species. The Illyrin were not strong, but they believed in mercy. They opened their borders and allowed human survivors to enter their space. The Illyrin gave humans food, shelter, and time. They shared knowledge, but not weapons. They never asked for payment. They simply said, live and rebuild. At that time, humans were broken and desperate. Many believed their species would never rise again, but humans listened, watched, and learned. They remembered every act of kindness. Years passed, then decades, then centuries. Humans spread quietly across the galaxy. They worked as mechanics, miners, pilots, and traders. Other races saw them everywhere, yet noticed nothing special. Humans were polite, patient, and calm. They accepted low pay and dangerous jobs. Many aliens laughed at them. Some even used them as cheap labor. What the galaxy did not see was what humans were doing in silence. They studied alien technology. They learned how shields failed, how weapons overheated, and how fleets moved. They improved everything, slowly, step by step. Humans did not build great empires. They built hidden shipyards, small research stations, and secured data vaults. No flags were raised, and no warnings were given. The galaxy remained blind. The Illyrin faded into history. Their name was rarely spoken. Most believed they were safe, forever under galactic law. But laws mean little when power shifts. Far away, a new alien empire was rising. It was aggressive, proud, and hungry for territory. They saw the Illyrin worlds as weak and easy targets, and they prepared for invasion. Still, the Galactic Council remained silent. Once again, they decided not to act. The Illyrin were old, peaceful, and not useful anymore. History was repeating itself. In the dark space between stars, human observers received the news. Their networks detected fleet movements and battle plans. For a long moment, there was no response. Then a single message spread across human space. It contained only a few simple words. Words passed down through generations. Words every human child was taught to remember. A debt is never forgotten. While the galaxy slept, believing humans were still weak, human shipyards came alive. Engines powered up, and weapons charged. Old promises were being prepared for payment. The galaxy had forgotten the past. But humans had not, and soon, the stars would. Remember as well, humans who never forgot the galaxy continued its normal rhythm. Trade routes stayed open. Wars started and ended, and empires argued in the council halls. To most races, humans were just another background species. Humans lived everywhere, on busy space stations, on mining moons, and on deep cargo ships. They repaired engines, cleaned corridors, and calculated jump paths. They smiled, nodded, and listened. Aliens talked freely around them. They shared military news, political secrets, and technical problems. No one believed humans were important enough to spy. That mistake would cost the galaxy dearly. Human minds worked quietly. Every failure they saw became a lesson. Every insult became motivation. They recorded everything, then improved it. Human engineers learned why alien shields collapsed under stress. Human pilots learned how enemy fleets turned too slowly. Human scientists discovered limits that others ignored. Piece by piece, humans filled the gaps others never noticed. They did not rush. Humans understood patience better than any race. They had once waited on the edge of extinction. Waiting a few more centuries was easy. Across human space, small councils formed. They were not loud or proud. They met in secure rooms and encrypted channels. Their purpose was simple. Remember, the debt, the Illyrin, were never forgotten among humans. Their name was taught in schools and whispered in stories. Human children learned that mercy had saved their species, and that mercy must always be returned. Some humans wanted revenge against the Galactic Council, others wanted power and control. But the elders always stopped them. They reminded everyone why humans survived in the first place. Humans did not survive because they were strong. They survived because someone chose kindness. That lesson shaped everything they built afterward. Meanwhile, the rising alien empire continued to expand. Their fleets crushed smaller worlds with ease. They believed fear was the strongest weapon. And so far, they were right. Reports of destroyed colonies reached the Galactic Council. Debates lasted for weeks. Votes were delayed, and excuses were made. No fleets were sent. Far away, the Illyrians sensed danger approaching. Their defenses were outdated. Their population was small. They hoped galactic law would protect them. Humans saw the truth clearly. They knew laws only mattered when someone enforced them. They had learned that lesson the hard way, and they would not let history repeat itself. In hidden shipyards, human fleets took shape. They were not massive, but they were precise. Each ship had a purpose. Each weapon was designed to end battles. Quickly, human commanders trained their crews in silence. No victory songs were sung. No speeches were given. This was not about glory across human worlds. One phrase appeared again and again, written on walls, screens, and memory stones, a reminder stronger than any order. We remember who saved us. As enemy fleets moved closer to Illyrian space, human sensors tracked every jump, every formation, every weakness. Nothing escaped their attention. The galaxy still believed humans were harmless, still believed they would stay neutral, still believed they were too small to matter. They were wrong. Humans were not preparing for war. They were preparing to keep a promise, and when the moment came, the galaxy would finally understand that humans never forget kindness and never ignore a debt. The fall of the Ancient Ones, the first attack on the Illyrian, came without warning. Enemy ships dropped out of hyperspace like shadows. Their hulls were dark, sharp, and covered with heavy weapons. The Illyrian defense stations reacted too slowly. They were built for peace, not war. Old shields flickered, and ancient cannons failed one by one. Illyrian cities watched the sky burn. Civilian ships tried to escape. Many never made it past the blockade. A message was sent to the Galactic Council. It was calm, respectful, and desperate. The Illyrian asked for protection under galactic law. The Council received the request. They discussed it behind closed doors. Some members showed concern. Most showed calculation. The Illyrian had no powerful allies, no rare resources, no strong fleets to offer in return to the Council. Saving them made no sense. After long debate, the decision was made. No intervention. No fleets would be sent. The message was short and cold. The Council regrets. It cannot act at this time. When the reply reached Illyrian space, silence followed. Illyrian leaders understood immediately. They had been abandoned, just as humans once had been. The invading empire pressed harder. They destroyed defense stations with ease. They targeted communication hubs and orbital cities. Fear spread faster than fire. Illyrian elders gathered in their ancient halls, walls covered in symbols older than many stars. They knew their time was ending, but they felt no anger. Instead, they remembered the past, the day broken human ships arrived in their space, their fear in human eyes, and the choice they had made. One elder ordered a final transmission, not to the Council, not to the enemy, but to a name remembered from long ago. The message was simple: no demand, no plea, only truth. We do not ask for help. We only wish you to know we kept our promise. To you. The transmission vanished into deep space. The Illyrian did not know if anyone would hear it. They did not expect rescue. They prepared to face the end with dignity. As enemy troops landed on Illyrian worlds, cities fell one after another. Statues were broken. Libraries burned. The invading empire celebrated their victory. They called the Illyrian weak. They mocked their peaceful ways. They believed fear had proven its power once again. Across the galaxy, other races watched and stayed silent. No one wanted to become the next target. Silence felt safer than courage. History repeated itself once more. But far away, deep within human space, that final Illyrian message was received. It passed through hidden relays and secure networks, until it reached the human councils. No one spoke at first. The room remained quiet. Some humans lowered their heads, others closed their eyes. an old human commander finally stood, his voice steady but heavy. He spoke words every human already felt. They saved us when no one else would. Orders were sent immediately. Dormant fleets were activated. Shipyards shifted to full power. Human space changed in a single moment. This was no longer preparation. This was action. The debt was no longer distant. It was now due. As the Alluran worlds burned, the galaxy believed the story was ending. They did not know that it was only the beginning. Humanity arrives. The first sign of change was silence. Long-range sensors across the galaxy detected something strange. Entire regions of space went dark. The invading empire noticed it too late. Their communication relays stopped responding. Navigation beacons failed one by one. Confusion spread through their fleets. Then the sensors screamed. Unknown ships were entering the system, not through normal jump points, but through controlled space tiers no one had seen before. Human fleets arrived without warning. Their ships were smooth, dark, and silent. No bright colors, no symbols of pride, only simple markings and clean lines. The enemy commanders laughed at first. The ships were not large. They did not look terrifying. They assumed this was a mistake. Then the first human strike hit. No explosions, no bright flashes. Enemy ships simply shut down. Power cores frozen, weapons useless. Entire squadrons drifted helplessly in space. Human vessels moved through them with precision, striking only what was needed, never wasting a shot. The invading empire tried to respond. Their weapons fired wildly, but human ships were already gone, appearing behind them moments later. Human tactics were calm and controlled. They did not rush. They did not chase fleeing ships. They dismantled the enemy, piece by piece. A command signal spread across the battlefield. Every human ship paused at the same moment. A single broadcast replaced the silence. The message was short and clear, translated into every known language. We are humanity. We are here to repay a debt. The enemy commanders froze. Some laughed again, nervously this time. Others felt something new, fear. Human ships moved toward the Alluran worlds. They formed defensive lines, blocking further attacks, creating safe corridors for escape. Alluran civilians watched in disbelief. Unknown fleets now stood between them and destruction, not as conquerors, but as shields. Human medical ships arrived next. They pulled survivors from ruined stations. They treated the wounded without question, just as the Alluran once had. The invading empire regrouped. They gathered their strongest fleet, confident in their numbers. Certain raw power would still win. Across human channels, there was no celebration, no victory cries, only quiet focus. Human commanders shared one final order, simple and clear: protect the Alluran. As enemy fleets charged forward, weapons glowing and engines burning, human ships adjusted their formation and prepared to show the galaxy the cost of broken promises. The stars around Alluran space began to shift. Energy levels rose beyond known limits, and for the first time, the galaxy felt true fear. Fear spreads across the galaxy. The battle did not last long, but it changed everything. The invading empire attacked with full force. Their largest ships moved first, weapons firing in endless waves, confident that size and numbers would decide the fight. Human fleets did not retreat. They did not charge forward either. They held their position, calm and unmoving. When the enemy crossed a hidden boundary, space itself seemed to bend. Human weapons activated all at once. Silent, precise, and unstoppable. Entire enemy capital ships lost power. Their shields collapsed instantly. Their engines failed. They became empty metal shells drifting in space. Smaller enemy vessels tried to escape, but human ships moved faster than thought, cutting off every route, ending the battle before it could spread. Within minutes, the invading empire's fleet was gone, not destroyed in fire, but disabled and captured. A message far more terrifying than simple destruction. Across the galaxy, sensors recorded the impossible. Data poured into government centers and military commands. Analysts stared in silence, unable to explain what they were seeing. The Galactic Council panicked. Emergency sessions were called. Old alliances suddenly felt meaningless. Fear replaced pride. For the first time in centuries, the Council spoke openly about humans, not as workers, not as survivors, but as a power. Human fleets did not advance. They did not claim territory. They stayed near Alluran space, guarding, repairing, and rescuing. Alluran survivors were moved to protected zones. Human engineers rebuilt stations at record speed. Human doctors saved lives without rest. No payment was requested. Messages spread through the galaxy. Footage of human ships standing silently in orbit, not threatening, but impossible to ignore. Some alien worlds celebrated the fall of the invading empire. Others feared they would be next. Rumors spread quickly. Exaggerated stories of human weapons and secret fleets. Pirate groups vanished overnight. Border conflicts suddenly paused. Even the most violent species reconsidered their actions. Fear changed behavior faster than law ever had. A delegation from the Galactic Council requested contact. Their tone was cautious, respectful, almost afraid. They asked a single question, one that echoed across every star system. What do humans want in return? The message reached Human Command. There was no excitement, no celebration, only quiet understanding. Human leaders knew the galaxy was watching now, waiting for an answer, waiting to learn whether humans would rule through fear. As the question spread from world to world, every race held its breath. The galaxy trembled, not because of human power alone, but because no one knew what humans would do next. The debt is paid. The galaxy waited in silence. Every world, every station, every council hall, all listening for the human answer. Human fleets remained in position. They did not move closer to alien borders. They did not demand surrender. They did not issue threats. At last, a single human transmission was sent. It was open, clear, and shared with the entire galaxy. No codes, no secrets. A human representative appeared on the screen, calm, steady, and unarmed. His voice carried no anger. We do not want your worlds. We do not want your resources. We do not want your throne. Shock spread instantly. Many aliens did not believe what they were hearing. Others thought it was a trick. The human continued. Long ago, when humanity was weak, when our cities burned and our fleets were destroyed, no one came to help us. Screens across the galaxy showed old images, broken human ships drifting in space, refugees, crowded into failing stations, history many preferred to forget. Only one race opened their doors. The Alarian gave us shelter. They asked for nothing. The camera shifted, showing Alarian survivors, safe, alive, rebuilding under human protection. We are here today for one reason, to repay that kindness. The human paused, then delivered the final message. We ask for only one rule, never abandon the weak again. The words echoed through the galaxy. Simple, powerful, impossible to ignore. The Galactic Council sat in silence. For the first time, they had nothing to argue about. No vote was needed. One by one, council members agreed, not because they were forced, but because they were afraid of what ignoring that rule might bring. The invading empire was stripped of its power, not destroyed, but disarmed and watched. A living warning. Humans did not stay as rulers. They withdrew their fleets slowly, leaving behind rebuilt stations and safe zones. The Alarian were given time to heal, their worlds protected by new laws, and by a promise the galaxy now feared to break. Stories spread everywhere, not of human weapons, but of human memory. Parents warned their children, governments changed their policies, strong empires thought twice before crushing the weak. The galaxy learned something new, that humans did not conquer through force, they conquered through honor. And long after the fleets were gone, long after the battlefields were quiet, one truth remained. Humans did not rule the galaxy. They reminded it what honor means.